come.
Come from distant shores to this savage land of teal players from which we greet you.
And you.
And you. I bid you stay and hear our tale.
Great Artemis demands the willing sacrifice of her phones and cameras, for we are duty-bound and must attend the priestess here within this hollow space with no distractions.
I ask you stay your hand from cup and morsels fair,
as the gods command,
while in our temple in this troubled place. And now, be silent.
Be still.
and pray that you may escape the notice of the king. And so begins our sad lament.
I am Iphigenia,
Descended from Pelos, the son of Tantalus,
who drove his swift chariot to Pisa, and there won Iphigenia, Onomas's daughter, as his bride. From her he got Atreus, whose sons were Menelaus and Agamemnon. Agamemnon was her father.
and Tyndareus, daughter of her mother Clytemnestra.
Yes, I am that same Iphigenia whom my father sacrificed for Helen's sake, or so it is thought, to Artemis, in that famous landlocked bay of Aulis.
There, King Agamemnon had assembled his great fleet of 1,000 Hellene ships, resulting in Achaeans' arms in triumph over Troy.
And thus to gratify Menelaus by exacting
Revenge for the insolent seizure of his wife Helen.
But fearful storms, penning his fleet in port, drove him to enquiry through burnt offerings, and Calchas pronounced, Agamemnon, ruler of this Hellene armament, you shall see no ship sail till Artemis receive your daughter Iphigenia's blood in sacrifice. Once, long ago, you vowed to Artemis, bringer of light, the most beautiful creature born within 12 months. Your own wife Clytemnestra has a child, awarding me this prize of beauty. Her, then, you must sacrifice. On a false pretext, which Odysseus fabricated that I was to be Achilles' bride, they stole me from my mother. I came to Aulis. There they held me high over the altar. As the sword fell, Artemis snatched me from death, gave the Achaeans in my place a deer, and brought me through the bright air to make my home.
Here, in this Taurian country, where a barbaric king rules a barbaric people,
Tauris!
Who won his name, a runner's name, from the wind-like swiftness of his feet.
The goddess made me priestess in her temple here, and at her feast, so called, a pleasant name for rites which Artemis takes pleasure in, the act of which I do not speak of, since I fear her deity. For by a custom held long before I came, I offer all Hellenes who set foot on this shore. And at this feast of the goddess, I begin the rites. The sacrifice itself is an unspoken act performed by those in the interior of the shrine. Last night brought me strange dreams. I'll purge them forth now in words to the open sky in hopes to ease my heart. I dreamt I had escaped this land and lived in Argos. There my maidens and I were asleep when the earth's shoulders heaved and shook. I flew out the door and watched walls, coping, roof, and the whole house reel at one blow and crash to earth. Out of the ruin that was my father's house, it seemed one column stood. Brown hair flowed from its head. It spoke with human voice, and on it I performed this deadly ritual for strangers, sprinkling water as on one destined to die, and weeping. I interpret the dream thus. It was Orestes I prepared for death, and he has died. For what are the pillars of a house? Its sons. And those whose heads I touch with lustral water die. So now I want to pour libations for my brother, all I have the power to do being so far away. I'll go now into the house, this temple of Artemis, my home.
Look, there's a path. Watch now, there may be someone near.
I see, yes. And I'm keeping watch on every side.
Pylades, is this, do you think, the temple of Artemis which we have come from Argos over the sea to find?
It surely must be, Orestes. Don't you think the same?
And there, do you see the altar stained with Hellene blood?
Why, yes. Those brownish streaks like locks of hair. They're blood.
Do you see? Hung high up under the coping. Those are spoils.
They are. Prizes of visitors who perished here. But we must keep our eyes and wits alert all around.
Oh, Phoebus! Where has your oracle led me once again? I obeyed you. I avenged my father's death and killed my mother. Since then, I'm an outcast, hailed and harried this way and that, hounded by furies to and fro, always in flight. I have had my share of suffering. When I came to you and asked how I may reach an end to this whirlwheel of madness that has drove me through the lengths of Hellas, you sent me to this Taurian country to take the statue of your sister Artemis and set it up in Athens to possess it. By luck or craft in face of every peril, and give it to Athens. That's what you said. No more. I obeyed you. Here I am in this unknown, unwelcoming country. Advise me, Pylades. You share this enterprise with me. What shall we do? You see the height of the temple wall. Are we to get in by climbing? They will surely see us. If we are caught opening the doors, forcing an entrance, we will be killed. Let's get back to the ship we came in while we're still alive.
Run away? Out of the question. We're not used to it. We're here at a god's bidding. We can't play the coward. Let's leave the temple for now and hide among those caves where the dark tide floods through the cliffs and well away from the ship. Someone might see it and inform the king, then to be attacked and captured. Then, when murky night frowns on the world, we must use all the courage, all the resource we have to steal that polished statue out of the temple. Come, good men and difficulties are made to match. A coward is a failure anywhere. I tell you, we've not rowed our ship this long journey and got here just to turn around now and row home again.
You are right, and I must listen to you. Let's find some place to hide. Apollo cannot willingly cause his own oracle to perish unfulfilled. Bold is the word. We're young, and danger is no excuse.
Keep holy silence, all whose homes are here, beside the unfriendly sea, beyond the clashing rocks.
Huntress, daughter of Leto, Artemis of the mountains, I approach your court with ritual steps.
Virgin slave to your temple's virgin guardian.
Pass between a towering pillar under a roof of gold.
Far away by the coal Eurotas,
The horses of Hellas crop the green meadow.
between the town wall and the fringe of trees,
There stood my father's house.
we have come.
Oh, what has happened? Why are you sad?
Daughter of great Agamemnon, who led the famous fleet to the Tower of Troy.
Ships and armed men by thousands and tens of thousands.
Why did you call us to the temple? Why did you send for us?
My women, I am sunk in bitter tears and deep distress. Music is turned to mourning, songs to a tuneless wail. For death lays pain, pain on my inmost heart. Blow follows blow, fatal and cruel. I weep for the lost life of my own brother. Such a sight I saw. Such a vision came to me in the night whose darkness has just passed. My life is shattered and ended. My father's house fallen. My family extinct. Oh, city of Argos, how... Hear my indignation, you from the upland herds, the holy offering of Bacchus's wine, the toil of tawny bees, the cup of the dead, set for the soothing of the dark powers. Give me the golden bowl and the offering for the god of death. Child of Agamemnon's race, numbered with the dead below, take these holy gifts from me. I can lay no lock of hair, drop no tear upon your tomb. From the land that bore us both, fate has torn me far away. There men saw me slaughtered. There men think me buried.
Mistress,
We will echo your chant of mourning.
With Eastern songs,
with wild laments,
Music to move tears to the dead.
notes the glad heart abhors, the solemn dirge that death himself intones.
The heir to Atreus' throne is dead.
Hope for the royal house is dead.
Many glorious kings has Argos known.
Whose is now the sovereignty?
blow after blow staggers the cursed city. Since the first wickedness, at which the sun driving winged horses like whirling flames swerved from his course and averted the holy glance of his glory.
Agony upon agony, murder upon murder, dread and despair haunted the unhappy house. And now for sons of Tantalus, killed in times past, falls vengeance on the last of his line.
What God should abhor, God your hurt pursues.
From my beginning, fate was ill fate for me. From the night my mother loosed her maiden girdle, from the hour I was conceived, over my childhood the hand of fate lay hard. My unhappy mother, Leda's daughter, bore me as first fruit of her marriage. Wooed by many princes of Hellas, but reared as a vowed offering, a doomed victim of my father's villainy, a sacrifice empty of rejoicing. They drove me in a chariot of state to the sands of Aulis, a mocked and unblessed bride for Achilles, son of Thetis. And now, in this bleak exile beside the inhospitable sea, I live without husband, child, city, or friend. I cannot join in the Argive hymn to Hera. The rites I celebrate are unfit for song. I drench an altar with the blood of travelers. I pity them as they lament their fate. As their tears fall, my heart is wrung. But now I must forget all that. My tears now yearn towards Argos and my dead brother. I left him a little child at my mother's breast, so young and fresh then, her arms clasping him close. The Prince Royal of Argos, Orestes.
But
look, my lady,
this is one of the king's herdsmen.
Daughter of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, listen. Strange things have been happening, and I will tell you the whole story.
What is it in your story that excites you so?
Why, 2 young men are landed by ship, sailed sleep to the blue Sprecace. They'll be suitable victims and a pleasing sacrifice of a divine Artemis. So ready the barley meal and the holy water as fast as possible.
Do the appearance of these men not tell you what country they are from?
They are from Hellas. This I know, but nothing more.
And did you not hear the names of either of these men?
I did. One of them called the other Pylades.
And his companion? What was he called? Did you hear?
Why, no. We heard no other name, so no one knows.
Tell me how you came about them then, and how you called.
We were down by the breaking waves when
Oh, and what were you herdsmen doing down by the seashore?
we took our cattle there to wash them in the salt water.
Oh, yes. Begin again then. Tell me exactly how you captured them. That is what I wish to learn. These men have been a long time coming, and the altar has not yet dyed too deeply with streams of Hellene blood.
We were driving our cattle down from the woodland pastures and out towards the sea, which flows into the crashing rocks. There's a hollow beneath the cliffs, carved out by the great waves bursting through, used as a shelter by purple fishers. There, one of our young drovers saw 2 men sitting on the rocks, and he made his way back warily on tiptoe. "Don't you see," says he, "there are 2 gods sitting there." One of us then, a God-fearing man, raised up his hands and turning towards them prayed. But another, reckless, profane fellow, laughed at his words. He said those must be shipwrecked men, who, knowing our country's custom is to sacrifice strangers, are crouching terrified beneath the rocks. Most of us agreed then, and said we ought to capture these strangers, to sacrifice to Artemis, as our law directs. And while we were talking, one of the men stood up from the rocks, groaning, his head jerking up and down, hands trembling, raving mad. And he hallooed like a huntsman. "Ooh, Pylades, don't you see her? Another fiend from Hades, can't you see? Those fangs, they're like adders, reaching out to kill me. Oh, and there goes a third, who breathes out gory flames and fans them with her wings. She holds in her arms my mother with a massive rock to fling and crush me with. Oh, she'll kill me. Where can I escape?" Well, there were no such sights, but he confused the bellowing of the cattle and the barking of the dogs for the similar sounds the Furies were supposed to utter. I sat there silent and astonished, ready to act, when suddenly the man leapt up from the rock, drew his sword, and jumped like a lion, right amongst our cattle. He was stabbing and slashing at rib and flank, imagining he was fighting off the immortal Furies, until the shore and the salt water flowered with bloody foam. Ooh, so when we saw those poor beasts being slaughtered, each one of us grabbed some weapon, we blew our horns, and called our countrymen to help. Herdsmen, we thought, were no match if it came to a fight with two well-built young foreigners. And soon, a good handful of us had gathered. And by now, the man had shaken off his insane fit, falling down, dribbling foam over his beard. So we, seeing him fallen, seized our chance. Each one of us struck and pelted with all his might. The second man now was wiping foam from his friend's lips, watching against the hail of blows and still intent on comforting and supporting his friend. The first man now was Scenic. He had jumped up from the ground and saw a wave of enemies pressing close and knew that fate was upon them and cried out in despair. But we never stopped the hail of blows. We hemmed them in on all sides, and that was when we heard his dread battle cry. "Pylades, we shall die, so let us die nobly. Draw your sword and follow." Well, when we saw those two swords brandished at our heads, away we scattered, over the rocks and up the glens. But if they routed those, others would attack with stones, and those that had fled before would renew the attack. And here was a marvel. Of all the stones we threw, not one struck home or scarred the goddess's sacrifice. Finally, we had laid hands on them, not through bravery, but closing round in a circle, till we knocked the swords out of the stones, brought the swords out of the hands of the stones, and then they sank to their knees, exhausted. And then we led them to the king, and he soon as saw them, ordered them to be taken to you for purification and then sacrifice. You used to pray, my lady, that if you kill men of this quality, Hellas will have avenged what she's done to you, and the sacrifice of Aulus will have been avenged in full.
An amazing story! Who can the man be making this mysterious voyage from Hellas to the unfriendly sea?
Enough! Herdsmen, go now and bring the men. The rites ensuing are of my concern, and I will see to them. In past days, oh, my suffering heart, when Hellene men came to your ministrations, you were gentle, full of compassion for him then, shedding those tears that were due to your own flesh and blood. But now my dream has made me cruel. I think Orestes sees the sun no more. And so, you who have come, whoever you may be, shall find that I am your enemy. Friends, here's another truth which I have just perceived. The unfortunate, meeting those still more unfortunate, think of their own hard fate and feel no sympathy. Zeus never yet sent by wind or ship through the twin rocks to this country Helen, who destroyed my life, nor Menelaus for my just revenge to make a second Aulus for atonement here. Aulus! Where Greek hands held me like a calf prepared for slaughter, my own father playing the part of priest. I weep again remembering. How can I forget? cling to his knees. The things I said. This is a shameful marriage you have brought me to. You, Father! At this moment, while you are killing me, my mother and my friends are at home singing the wedding song for me, and flutes fill the whole house with music. And I am being put to death by you! The Achilles you chose for me was not Peleus' son. Your treacherous chariot brought me here to wed with death, the grave of my bridegroom, and my marriage token blood. At home, I hid my face in my fine wedding veil, and I would not take my brother in my arms, and he is dead now. And I would not kiss my sister's lips, for I was hot with blushes going to the house of Achilles. I would see Argos again one day, I said, and I would keep my kisses until then. Oh, Orestes, what rare dignity and beauty of life is lost on you if you are dead. What splendor of inheritance. And as for Artemis, I find her guilty of hypocrisy. She calls unclean one who has touched blood, or a woman in labor, or a corpse, and bars them from her altars, and yet takes pleasure in the offering of human lives. Could Zeus beget, and Leto bring to birth such vile folly? Impossible. I do not believe the tale of Tantalus's feast, that the gods were pleased with a child's flesh. The truth is, men of this country, being murderers, impute their sordid practice to divine command. That any god is evil, I do not believe.
Dim purple rock, where sea flows into purple sea, gateway from Europe to the lands of Asia, where Io in her mad agony passed through from Argos, flying to these friendless waters.
Tell us, who are these men?
What river flows past your forsaken home? Your road is clear between green rushes.
Or the holy stream of Dirce?
Why have they come?
Come to a sullen land where the altar of Artemis runs red and human blood splashes the pillars. Was it the jealous search for wealth to exalt their homes? They drove their sails racing before the wind. They plashed their pinewood oars, 2 wings as one, to bring home riches over the wide waters?
Such hope is sweet to men.
No port of sorrow can quench it.
They wander over the waves, visit strange cities, winning their weight of wealth.
All alike sure of achievement.
Yet one man's guess misses the lucky moment.
Another finds fortune on his lap.
How did they sail so far over the hostile sea?
I prayed the prayer my mistress prayed, that Helen, Lena's darling child, might chance to come from Troy to this shore.
To receive round the long hair, the garland of water drops,
And to die.
Her throat severed by my mistress' hands in just reprisal.
But of all news, the most welcome would be this. If a ship from Hellas came to free us from this weary slavery.
I long to see once more
Even in a dream.
my father's house and city.
to taste again the delight of singing together, which joins the heart of rich and poor.
Look!
The 2 men are coming with their hands fast bound.
Fresh blood for the altar of Artemis.
Keep silence, friends.
That herdsman told no lie.
Here to the temple come the choicest manhood of Hellas.
Goddess, if this barbaric country's ritual pleases your heart, accept this sacrifice, an offering which the laws of Hellas teach us to call abhorrent.
Come. It is my first care that the rites of Artemis be duly ordered. So, untie the stranger's arms. They must stand unfettered, being consecrated. Next, go into the temple and prepare whatever custom the observance of these rites demand. You were once little children. Who was your mother then? Your father? Had you a sister? It is sad for her to lose such a fine pair of brothers. Such chances. Who knows to what lot they will fall? The ways of the gods move to invisible ends. The next calamity is not revealed. Events mislead and baffle us. Tell me what country you come from, O unhappy men. You are the first to come for a long time, and Long you shall be away from home, below the earth, forever.
Lady, whoever you may be, why grieve like this and make more bitter to us our approaching fate? We need no tears from you. We know and understand what sacrifices take place here.
One of you on the shore was named by the other Pylades. Which is he? I wish to know this first.
If learning this would give you some pleasure, it is he.
And of what Greek city was he born a citizen?
And what profit would it give you, lady, to know that?
Are you two brothers? Did one mother bear you both?
We are brothers in love, lady, not by blood.
And what name did your father give you at your birth?
To name me justly, I am called the Unfortunate.
Ascribe that name to fortune. That is not what I asked.
I shall die nameless and be safe from mockery.
Why do you grudge this? Is your pride so resolute?
My body is yours. You shall not sacrifice my name.
Will you not even tell me what your city is?
To answer will not help me, for I am to die.
I ask a favor. What prevents you from granting it?
Then I claim famous Argos as my father's city.
What? You're from Argos, that's the truth.
It is. I come from the once proud and prosperous Mycenae.
Are you an exile from your country? What happened?
Yes, in one sense a willing exile, yet not willing.
You are the visitor I longed for. One from Argos.
Then hug your good luck. It's no answer to my prayers.
Would you answer a question that I long to ask?
Why not? It makes no difference to my present plight.
The name of Troy is in the world's mouth. Do you know it?
I wish I did not. Had not even dreamt it.
They say that Troy no longer stands, that it was laid to waste in war.
That is so. Your informant was correct.
And Helen, has she gone back to Menelaus' house?
She has, and brought a curse with her for one I know.
Where is she? I too have a score to settle with her.
She is in Sparta, reunited with her first husband.
She is loathed by every Hellene, not just by me alone.
I too have reaped the harvest of her marriages.
And the Achaean army returned then, as is reported?
You asked me the whole story in one word.
I wish to share that story with you before you die.
Since you desire it, question me. I'll answer you.
Did a certain priest, Calchas, ever return from Troy?
No, he is dead, so they were saying in Mycenae.
Oh, Artemis, you did well. And Odysseus, what of him?
He has not returned home yet, but is still alive, they say.
I hope he will die, and that he will never see his home again.
Do not curse him. He is oppressed with every kind of trouble.
And is the Nereid's son, Achilles, still alive?
He is not, and his marriage at Aulis came to nothing.
Nothing but treachery, as those who suffered know.
Who are you, asking these apt questions of Hellas?
Hellas was my home. I died there when I was a child.
Then it is natural, lady, that you long for news.
And what of the successful general?
Who? That description does not fit the man I knew.
I mean the king they called Agamemnon, Atreus' son.
I don't know, lady. No more questions about him.
Oh, please, friend, I beg you, give me this pleasure.
He is dead, and his sad death destroyed another life.
Not dead? What happened? Oh, what misery.
Why do you weep for him? Was he related to you?
It is the memory of his former greatness that makes me weep.
His end was terrible. His own wife struck him dead.
How pitiful! For her who killed, no less for he who died.
Now, stop your questions. Ask me nothing more.
Tell me just this. The dead king's wife, does she still live?
She does not. Her own son killed her. Yes, her very son.
Oh, house of misery and madness. Why did
He exacted vengeance for his father, whom she killed.
How rightly done. How evil. But revenge was just.
His justice wins no recognition from the gods.
Do any of the king's children still live in his house?
death left only a daughter, Electra, still at home.
And what is said of the daughter who was sacrificed?
Nothing, but that she died.
She is to be pitied. So is he who killed his child.
Her blood was an unjust ransom for a worthless wife.
And is the dead king's son, is he in Argos and alive?
He lives a wretched life, nowhere and everywhere.
He lives! So much for my false dreams. They mean nothing.
You are right. The gods themselves, even those we call prophetic, are no more trustworthy than fleeting dreams. The world of the gods is as chaotic as our mortal world. What galls one is that he should, while still of sound mind, by heeding the words of prophets, plunge himself into a depth of ruin only experience can fathom.
And what of us? Do we not know what sorrow is? Our parents, too, were dear to us.
Where are they now?
And living or not living?
Who can tell us this?
Friends, listen. A thought has come to me. Some good follows most often when the same plan pleases everyone. Would you be willing, if I save your life, to return to Mycenae and to carry a letter? You seem to be no enemy to me, and you know Mycenae. Save your life then, and go back, where I would go too. The reward you win brings no disgrace. You bear one little letter and save your life. And since the city's law demands a victim, let your friend alone be sacrificed to Artemis.
All you have said, lady, is well, except one thing. To let my friend die is more than I could bear. Give him your letter, and he will deliver to Argos, and deliver to your satisfaction. My own life is his who wants it. If a man, to escape himself, would run his friend's neck into the noose, he is a coward. This man's my friend. I value his life as my own.
Oh, generous heart, so pure in friendship. You were born surely from royal stock. I can only hope that the one man left of my family may be like you. Friends, I too have a brother, if one has what one never sees. But since you thus prefer it, your friend shall take my letter to Argos, and you shall die. This is a strange eagerness that possesses you to stay and die.
And whose fearful function will it be to offer me?
Mine. Artemis entrusts this office to my care.
That is a tragic lot, lady, and unenviable.
I live under necessity, which I must heed.
And do you yourself kill men with the sword?
I pour water on your head for purifying.
Who will be my slaughterer then? May I ask this?
There are those inside the temple whose task it is.
What kind of tomb will welcome me?
The sacred fire within, and then a broad cleft of rock.
Gods, if but my sister's hands could wrap my limbs for burial.
Whoever you are, unhappy man, your prayer is in vain. She lives far from this savage place. And yet, since you are from Argos, I will not hesitate to do for you all that is possible. I will heap rich gifts above your grave, spill golden olive oil to quench your ashes, pour over your pyre the bright liquor which yellow bees sip from the hillside flowers. I will go now to fetch my letter. For what I must do not think me your enemy. Guards, watch them, leaving them unbound. Now, it may be that I can send word beyond all hope to Argos, to one dearer than all other friends. My letter, telling him that one he thought dead still lives, will speak and crown his joy with certainty.
We grieve for you, whose blood the sprinkling of holy water soon will claim.
This is no cause for pity, but farewell, good friends.
Pylades, favored by fortune.
We rejoice with you.
In time, he will set foot on your native soil.
This is no cause for joy when death parts friend from friend.
A voyage of tears awaits you.
Pitiful death awaits you. Which is the more bitter, life or death?
My heart is dazed and doubtful, for which fate shall my grief cry louder?
Gods, do you have the same thought that I have, Pylades?
I don't know. I'm lost for words. What is your thought?
Who is that woman? The way she questioned us about the war of Troy, the Achaeans' homecoming, and how pitifully she asked about Agamemnon and his wife and children. She must be an Argive born, or she would never want to send a letter in such detail as if her the city's well-being.
You have said what I was just about to say, except for this. The story of the two kings is known far and wide wherever travelers go. No, something else she said.
What? Something you didn't understand? Tell me.
That for me to live when you are killed is a disgrace. I shared your journey here. It's for me to share your death. If I sail home now, I shall be called coward and betrayed. There's no lack of evil minds. Most men will say that I betrayed you and came safely home alone. No. To avoid slander, I must breathe my last with you and give my body, with yours, to the knife and fire.
Say no such thing. When this one pain confronts me, I will not bear two. This shame you speak of, this dishonor, lies no less on me if I repay your comradeship with death. It is no hardship for me to let go of life so persecuted by the gods. But you are rich. Your house is pure, untainted. I am blood guilty and outcast. My sister, Electra, whom I gave to you as wife, will bear you children. My name will be perpetuated, and my father's house will not, for lack of true-born sons, be blotted out. Go then, and live, and take up your inheritance. And when you reach Hellas, and see again the golden chariots of Argos, build a tomb, and on the mound set a memorial of me. And dear friend, never desert my sister when you see her family extinct, her house desolate. Goodbye then. You and I have hunted together, we have grown up together, you have shouldered many of the burdens of my wretched life, and have been to me the dearest of my friends. For myself, I am the dupe of Apollo's oracle. He built on my compliance with his earlier bidding to send me out of Hellas to the ends of the earth. I put my life in his hands, I obeyed him, and killed my mother. Now it is my turn to die.
I will raise your tomb, Orestes, and will not abandon your sister, for you will be an even dearer friend dying than living. But the god's oracle has not destroyed you yet, however close you are to death. Sometimes, somehow, extraordinary misfortune seems to take, by pure chance, an extraordinary turn.
No more. Phoebus' pronouncements are of no use to me. Look, the priestess comes through the temple doors.
Guards, go now into the temple and make everything ready for those who are to perform the sacrifice. Here is my letter. Attend now to what further I require. A man in difficulties is not the same man when fear fades and confidence returns. The one who means to take my letter may, once safely away from shore, neglect the task I have laid on him. This is my fear.
What do you desire, then? What thought makes you hesitate?
Let him swear to me that he will convey this message to those friends I made.
And in return, will you swear a like oath to him?
Tell me what I should swear to do or not to do.
To send him out of this country, safe and alive.
Of course. How could he deliver my message otherwise?
But will the Taurian king consent to such a promise?
I will persuade him, and will myself see Pylades on board.
Swear then. Prescribe to him a pious oath.
Say this. I will deliver this letter to your friends.
I will indeed deliver this letter to your friends.
And I will see you safely beyond the purple rocks.
And to what god do you invoke this promise?
I invoke Artemis, in whose temple I am priestess.
And I invoke the Lord of heaven, Almighty Zeus.
And if you should neglect your oath and wrong my trust,
May I not see home again. And if you fail to save my life,
may I not live to stand on Argive soil.
listen, there is one further point we have omitted.
If it is fair, there should still be time to speak of it.
Then this. Should my ship be wrecked, my goods lost, and your letter with them, and I escape with my skin only, then this oath shall not be binding.
I will take steps to make doubly sure. I will say over to you now the words contained within the letter, so that you may repeat them to my friends. In this way, safety is assured. If you preserve the letter, then the words themselves will speak their silent message. If the letter is lost at sea and you are safe, then my words will be safe with you.
Agreed. This will best serve both your concern and mine. Tell me the man in Argos whom I'm to deliver this letter to, and the message I'm to learn by heart.
Say this to Orestes, Agamemnon's son. This message is from Iphigenia, who was sacrificed at Aulis. She is alive, but dead to all her friends.
Alive? Where is she? Has she come back from the dead?
I am here before your eyes. Wait, you interrupt. Brother, bring me home before I die to Argos, and release me from my priestesshood in this temple of Artemis, where I preside over the ritual death of travelers.
Pylus, what is this? Where are we? In a dream?
Or I shall haunt your house, Orestes, with a curse. I will say his name to you once more, so that you may learn it well.
Ye gods!
Why do you call the gods? What is my brother to you?
Nothing. Continue. My thoughts stray to other matters. If I say nothing, then perhaps I shall hear the truth.
Tell him that Artemis saved me from my father's hand, that the sharp sword with which he thought he struck me fell instead on a deer, which she provided in my place, that she then brought me to live here. This is your charge. That is the message which this letter holds.
Oh, lady, you have given me an easy oath in exchange for a fair promise. I'll waste no time making good on the oath I swore. Look, Orestes, I deliver this letter to you from your sister.
I accept it. But to embrace this happiness, what do I want with folded letters, written words? Away with them! My dearest sister, I am so wild with wonderment at what I have just heard. I hardly know what to think. Come, let me take you into my arms.
Stop, stranger! Take away your hand.
They desecrate the holy robes of Artemis's priestess.
You do wrong.
My dear sister, we have one father. We are both Agamemnon's children. Do not turn from me now. You have your own brother, whom you never hoped to see.
What? You, my brother? Come, no more of this. My brother is well enough known in Argos and in Nauplia too.
My poor sister, your brother is not in Argos now.
But Clytemnestra of Sparta was your mother then?
Yes, by my father, Pelops' grandson, Agamemnon.
What are you saying? Have you some evidence of this?
I have. Just question me about our family.
Better surely for you to speak, and I will listen.
I will speak first of things Electra told me. This. You know that Atreus and Thyestes nursed a feud.
I heard of it. They quarreled over a golden lamb.
So you recall weaving the story into your loom?
You touch my heart there. I almost believe.
In your fine tapestry, the sun turned back.
This picture too I delicately wove.
Your mother sent you holy water to Aulis for your wedding day.
I know. That was because I was to marry a prince.
And in return, you sent her a lock of your own hair.
You are Orestes! Oh, my dearest, dearest brother. I have found you so far from home, from Argos. Oh, my dear one.
And I have found you living, whom everyone thought dead. Your eyes are wet with tears. Mine too, but they are tears of happiness. Our weeping and our joy are one.
Oh, my heart, happier than words can tell. What can I say? This day has come to us beyond wonder, beyond thought.
May we together find good fortune in time to come.
Friends, here I hold a miracle of joy. I fear it will leave my arms flying up to the sky. My own dear city, Mycenae, altar and hearth the Cyclops built. Hear my heart's thanks for my brother's life, for your care that reared him, a light of hope for our house.
Our house is noble, but the lives that we were both born to, sister, is accursed.
I know. To my sorrow, well I know how my unhappy father laid the knife to my throat.
That fearful sight I never saw, my mind's eye sees.
No wedding hymn was chanted when treacherously they led me, decked as a bride for Achilles' bed. And the altar was ringed with tears and groaning, and the ritual cleansing mocked with guilt.
I too shudder to think my father could do that.
Had I a father? How can I call him father? And so, fate leads us from one fertile crime to the next.
How nearly, sister, your own hands had shed my blood.
Oh, what was I doing? Brother, how horrible! How close I was to horror! How slender a chance saved you from death and me from bloody defilement! And now, how will it end? Will luck be timely? No, you must fly by ship. Aim for the blue straits and the narrow rocks. Oh, weary, endless journey. Gods have mercy. I am helpless, helpless. What aid from earth or heaven, what miracle past hoping could save our lives? The last glimmering hope for the house of Atreus.
This meeting's a marvel words cannot describe, nor ears believe have not seen it with my own eyes. Orestes, it is only natural that you should embrace your sister, seeing her after so many years. But now we must put feeling aside and focus on one grand theme, to escape out of this savage place to safety. We must not flout fortune, or waste time, however delightfully, but seize this chance we have.
You are right. Our safety lies, I think, as much with chance as with ourselves. But if we play a resolute part, surely the gods will be stronger on our side.
Let him not stop me. It's of no hindrance to our plans. From asking about Electra, any news of her is precious. What has happened to her life?
She is wife to Pylades here. All goes well with her.
Pylades, my sister's husband! Give me your hand.
I owe him my life.
But what drove you to such dread an act as matricide?
Let us not speak of it. I avenged my father's death.
But why did she kill him? What was her reason for it?
Ask not of her. It is not fit for you to hear.
I am silent. And are you now the lord and hope of Argos?
No. Menelaus rules Argos now.
What? Did our uncle choose our day of stress to turn traitor?
He did not. Dread of pursuing furies banishes me.
On the shore, they said the fit seized you.
This is not the first time men have witnessed what I suffer.
The Furies, they drive you for our mother's sake.
They do. Under their cruel bridles, I drip blood.
And what drove you to travel to such a distant coast?
I come at the bidding of Apollo's oracle.
May his command be spoken of? What must you do?
I'll tell you. This is how all my sufferings began. When first my hands were burdened with matters I will not speak of, I was hounded on this way and that, in exile by the Furies, until Apollo sent me to Athens to stand trial before the nameless goddesses. For in Athens is an inviolable court which Zeus established long ago to arraign Ares on some charge of murder. When I first came there, they all refused me shelter, as a man hated by gods. But then some took pity on me, and allowed me to sit in the same room as them, at a separate table as guest, eating and drinking apart, barred from converse. They poured an equal share of wine into each man's bowl so they could enjoy their feast. They were my hosts. I thought it well not to protest. I grieved in silence, seeming oblivious of their slight, lamenting loudly that I was a matricide. When I came to that court on Ares Hill, I stood on a dais on one side of the court. The eldest of the Erinyes stood opposite. They charged me with my mother's murder. I replied. The votes were counted equal, and Athena raised her hand for my acquittal. I had stood trial for a capital charge and won my case. Those Furies who accepted the court's ruling established their court near the shrine. Those who rejected it continued to persecute me from place to place, until again I came to Apollo's holy ground. I lay there, starving, prostrate, at his sanctuary, and swore to end my life there, unless he who had destroyed me would then save me. But then, Apollo's word voiced from the golden tripod, and he sent me to this Taurian country to take the statue of Artemis and set it up in Athens. Oh, help me, sister, to achieve this deed prescribed by the gods. If we can possess that holy image, I will be free from madness. We can escape with you to my well-manned ship and sail for Mycenae and take you home again. Oh, dearest, dearest sister, save our father's house and save me too. My life and our whole family must perish unless that God-sent statue can be ours.
Surely if we see the anger of gods who's raged against the sons of Tantalus,
dragging them through endless troubles.
I have longed, even before you came here, to return to Argos, brother, and to see you again. And now my wish is matched with yours. First, to release you from your troubles. Next, renouncing bitterness towards the hand that offered me in sacrifice, restoring the shattered fortunes of my father's house, so that my hand would be guiltless of your blood, and we could all be saved. But I am afraid of Artemis, whom we cannot deceive, and of the king when he finds his stone pedestal plundered of its effigy. What answer could excuse me? It would be certain death. If we could achieve both ends at one stroke, steal the statue and bring me on board your ship, then it's well worth the danger. If we can't do both, if the image goes and I stay here, then I must die. But you will achieve your object and get safely home. If it could save you, I would not shrink even from death. No family can afford to have its men be killed.
My mother's blood is on my hands. That is enough. I will not add yours. I mean to share equally with you in life or death. Think of this too. If taking the statue out of the temple would offend Artemis, would Apollo have bid me do it? Or was this his plan? To bring me here to reunite us? I see many threads drawn together. I believe we shall reach home.
But how can we do two things at once? Escape dying and steal the statue. This is where our hopes of home are weakest. Come, let's consult and make up some plan.
Would it be possible to assassinate the king?
No, that would violate the law of guest and host.
If doing it would save us, it's worth the risk.
I praise your courage. I could not think of it.
Could you hide us away in the temple?
Until darkness comes, then make our escape?
Yes. Night's the time for thieves, daylight for honesty.
There are temple servants inside. We should be caught.
Heavens help us then. We are lost. What other way is there?
I think now I begin to see another way.
What way? What are you thinking? Come, tell me. I want to know.
I could use your misfortune to deceive the king.
Let's have it then. That's like a woman's cleverness.
I'll say that you have come from Argos with your mother's blood fresh on your hands.
Yes, use my guilt if that will help.
I'll say that it would be impious to offer you to Artemis.
For what reason?
You are unclean. The victim offered must be pure.
But how does this help us get the statue?
I'll have to purify your body in the sea.
But we came here to get the statue, and it's still in there.
Well, I'll say that you touched it, that it too must be cleansed.
Cleansed? Where, out on the wet rocks of that headland?
Yes, out on the where your ship's headland bridles hold her fast.
And will you carry the statue or someone else?
I will. To touch it is permitted to me alone.
And Pylades, what part shall he play in this?
I'll say that his hands carry the same stain as yours.
And will you do this with the king's knowledge or without?
My story will convince him. He will have to know.
Well, my ship's crew are only waiting to dip oars.
Indeed. That part of the plan must be left to you.
There is one more thing. These women here must keep our secret. Beg for their help. Use your most persuasive words. There's nothing stirs compassion like a woman's plea. The rest I'll see to, and may fortune smile on us.
Dear friends, it is to you I look, for in your hands rests my whole future. Either to find happiness or to be nothing, to be forever separated from my home, and the brother and sister whom I love. Let the first word of my appeal to you be this. We are women. Women have a feeling for one another. They share and keep secrets with an unfaltering faith. Say nothing. Help us to make this difficult escape. True honor lives in a trustworthy tongue. A single chance determines for 3 loving lives between a safe homecoming and the stroke of death. If I live, I will come back and bring you to Hellas to share my happy fortune. I beg you. And you. I take your hand. I touch your cheek. And you, I bid you to think of the dear ones in your home, parents or children. Which of you will promise, or refuse, to answer? Speak.
Dear mistress, have no fear.
Only get safely away.
I give my word.
Our silence shall reveal nothing. Great Zeus be witness of what you entrust to us.
Heaven bless you for that promise and bring you happiness. Brother and Pilatus, go now into the temple. The king will be here presently to ascertain whether the strangers have been duly sacrificed. Artemis, you who once in Almus Bay delivered me from my father's murderous hand, now save us all, or prove to all men that Apollo's word is false. Be gracious. Come with us out of this savage land to Athens. Here is no fit place to make your home. There, a city of gladness waits to welcome you.
Heard of the sharp sea cliff, halcyon chanting your mournful note, a cry that speaks to the understanding heart.
A ceaseless song to your lost lover. I match with yours my wingless song of sorrow.
Longing for the festivals of Hellas, where the people of my country gather.
Longing for an Artemis whose worship is joy,
Who has her temple on the Cynthian hill, where soft-haired palm and shapely laurel grow.
and the silver green of the holy olive which shelter Leto in her labor.
The round lake where the water slowly turns, where the swan's chant honors the muses.
Oh, tears, falling tears, that streamed over my cheeks as weapons breached the crowded walls and enemy ships rowed us away, bought for a weight of gold.
I reach this barbarous coast where I serve Agamemnon's daughter, priestess of the deer-slaying goddess, attend her altars red with blood, not of lambs.
Envying their fate, who had been unfortunate all their life long,
Whose heart's necessity and old grief have steeled to endurance from their birth.
misery which follows happiness crushes the mortal spirit with despair.
Where is the Hellene woman, the temple guardian? Has she performed the proper ceremonies, and are the strangers' bodies blazing in the sanctuary?
King, she is here herself and will explain everything.
Why, priestess, that is the holy statue in your arms. Why remove it from its inviolable place?
King, stand there by the pillars. Take no further step.
But Iphigenia, what has been happening in the temple?
Silence! May the gods guard us from impurity.
Impurity? Tell me plainly what this mystery means.
I found those men you brought a tainted sacrifice.
And what revealed this to you? Or is it your surmise?
The statue reared backward on its pedestal.
Not on itself. Surely the earth shook and made it move.
Of itself. The statue trembled, and its eyelids closed.
What could have been the cause? These men's impurity.
This, nothing else. They committed fearful crimes.
They have killed one of my people.
No, they came here already foul, with kindred blood.
What blood?
Their mothers. Their 2 hands on 1 sword took her life.
Apollo! Even a savage would recoil from that.
They have been hounded out of every city in Hellas.
I see now. This is why you brought the statue out.
Out under the pure heaven, to be purged of blood.
You recognize the stain on these men. Tell me how.
When the holy image turned back, I questioned them,
Your Hellene intuition led you to the truth.
and they held out a pleasing bait to win my heart.
Oh, tempted you with the news from our guide friends, perhaps.
They tell me that Orestes, my only brother, is well.
They thought you'd spare them and delighted such good news.
And they tell me my father is alive and prospering.
You, of course, ignored them, knowing your duty to Artemis.
Hellas destroyed me. I hate Hellas utterly.
Well then, what shall we do with these 2 men?
We have no choice. We must observe the established law.
To work then, with your holy water and your sword.
I must first bathe and purify their tainted flesh.
Where then? In the fresh spring water or the salt sea?
The sea can wash away all the foulness of mankind.
Their sacrifice will be the more acceptable.
My part in this will also be the better done.
Well, here at hand, close by the temple, the surf breaks.
Solitude is needful. There will be certain other rites.
Go where you wish. I'll not pry into mysteries.
I must purify too the statue of Artemis.
If it is tainted with the guilt of matricide,
If it were not, I would never have moved it from its pedestal.
of course, your care and piety are very proper.
Listen now to what further I require.
It is for you to say.
First, bind the stranger's arms with cords.
Why? Where could they escape?
Never trust a man from Hellas.
Guards, ropes and time.
When you bring the men out before the temple, wrap their clothes over their heads.
In service for the sons of God.
And send some of your men with me.
Those men shall accompany you.
Send a herald through the city warning all citizens to stay inside their houses.
To avoid on contact with guilty blood.
Yes, all pollution must be shunned.
Go. Command this.
No one must set eyes on them.
You are thoughtful for my citizens.
For my friends as well. Those who have a special claim.
You think of me.
Naturally.
And it is natural that our city honors you. What more must I do?
Go into the temple and purify with fire the entire sanctuary for Artemis.
It shall be clean when you return.
God grant that this cleansing prosper as I wish.
God grant it so.
Now I see the two men coming from the temple. At their side, servants bear the sacred robes. 2 young lambs with whose blood I will purge the taint of murder, burning lamps, and other choice emblems which I have prescribed to cleanse the image and these men. I warn every citizen, keep far from the unholy thing. Every temple ministrant whose hands are sacred to the gods. All who go today to join their hands in marriage. Every womb heavy with child. Away! Depart, lest this defilement fall on you. Virgin child of Zeus and Leto, Artemis! If I may purge these men's guilt, if I can sacrifice where sacrifice is right, then your shrine shall be clean, and we shall prosper well. The rest, I pray without words, to gods who know all things, and Artemis, to you.
And you, princess, a 50-oared Argive galley will bear you home. And the whistling wax-bound pipe of Pan of the Mountain shall shrill to the rower's rhythm.
And the prophet singer Apollo, with the ring of his 7-string lyre, shall escort you safely to the shining land of Athens.
And as your swift craft speeds over the oar-blade's foamy track, as sheets and forestays strain and sails swell over the bows,
You will leave me here. Oh, if I could travel that shining track where the sun rides its chariot in fiery splendor.
I will fold impatient wings over weary shoulders, above the room that was mine in childhood.
With yearning thoughts I remember the weddings in noble houses,
The whirl of dancing.
the bridesmaids singing together,
and I among them, in pride of youth and delicate ornament, and glory of rival graces.
I will wear bright colored scarves that float up my long hair to shade my cheek.
Keepers of the temple, officers of the altar, where is Tauris? Where is the king?
If I may pursue to speak unbidden, what is the matter?
Those 2 young men have fled the country. Iphigenia applied the whole thing. Now they're gone and taken with them a holy image. It lies in the hold of a Greek ship.
An incredible story! But if you want to see the king, he is not here. He has just left the temple hurriedly.
Where is he going? I must inform him of what has happened.
None of us knows. You better go and search for him.
You will soon find him and be able to give your news.
Hear that? I never trust a word a woman says. You're in this plot like all the rest. I am sure of it.
You're mad! What could we have to do with the men's escape? Be off to your master's palace as fast as possible.
Not till I know for certain what I want to know. Whether the king's inside the temple or not. Ho there! Unbolt the doors, you in the temple. Tell the king I'm outside to bring him a packet of bad news.
Who makes this outcry at the porch of Artemis? Hammering the door till the whole shrine reverberates!
What's this? These women were trying to send me off again. Told me you had gone and you were inside all the time?
What did they hope to gain by that? What are they after?
I'll speak of them another time. Now, for more urgent matters. Iphigenia, who presides over these altars, has escaped and fled the country, and taken with her the 2 men and the holy statue of Artemis. The purification was a trick.
What? The priest is gone. What ill wind makes that possible?
This will surprise you more. It was to save Orestes.
Orestes? No, you don't mean Clytemnestra's son.
I do. The victim consecrated to Artemis.
It's a miracle. Or should I use a stronger word?
Don't turn your mind to all that now. But when the facts are clear before you, then think out. What is the best way to hunt and catch these foreigners?
You're quite right. Tell me everything. They have a long, hard voyage before them if they hope to escape my sword.
When we had reached the edge of the sea, not far from where Orestes' ship was waiting anchored out of sight, Iphigenia silently motioned to us guards, whom you had sent holding the men, to stand apart, while she kindled the holy flame and carried out the rites of purification. They walked on alone, the two men in front, and she behind, holding the cord that bound them. This made us uneasy. But, my lord, your servants thought all was in order. Presently, to make us think she was busy with the ceremony, she gave a piercing cry. And began to intone wild, magical incantations, as if actually washing off blood. Well, we sat there, and time went on until we thought perhaps the men had broken loose, killed her, and run for it. But we sat on, fearing to see what was forbidden. At last, we all agreed, in spite of orders, to go and join the rest. We went, and there we saw the hull of a Greek ship, her oars and two lines lifted like a pair of wings and 50 rowers at the ready. The two men, free from their bonds, were on shore, standing near the stern. Some of the crew were setting the prows with poles, others lashing the anchors into the bulwarks, others again laying down ladders for the two men to climb aboard. So, when we saw this treachery, without more scruple, we ran and held Iphigenia, shouting, "Who and what are you, and what right have you come, stealing our images to temple officers, smuggling this woman out of the country?" And he said, "My name's Orestes, and let me tell you, I'm your brother, and I'm going to take my long-lost sister home." We held fast to Iphigenia, and did our best to drag her away to you, sir. But we paid for it, in hard knocks and bruised faces, as you could see. Those two had no swords, nor we either, but they came at us with fists, boom, boom, and feet, hi-ya, and both of them, this side and that, aimed at us with such a volley of blows, that to resist was to reel back, wounded, dazed, All of a sudden, a wave lifted the ship a little inshore. The foam swirled at Iphigenia's feet. She shrank away. Orestes hoisted her on his left shoulder, strode into the sea, leapt at the ladder, and set down his sister safely inside the ship, together with the holy statue of Artemis, which fell from heaven. The oars plunged, and the ship went gliding through the harbor's mouth, while still in sheltered water. But once outside, she met a choppy swell, and going was hard. A sudden wind blew the ship's back stern foremost. The men struggled, kicking against the current, but the ship was driven closer towards the land. That's when Iphigenia stood up and prayed. "I am your priestess Artemis. Bring me safe home from this savage land. Forgive me for my theft. You goddess love your brother. Leave to that I love my nearest kin." Her prayer was echoed by the seamen's loud paying to Apollo as their bare arms tugged the straining oars in perfect rhythm. The ship came closer, closer to the rocks. They have no hope of escape. Divine Poseidon, Lord of the Sea, is Troy's protector and an enemy to the house of Pelops. And it seems he is going to hand Orestes over to you and to our citizens. And his sister too, who has forgotten how Artemis saved her at Aulis and is guilty of treachery.
Unhappy Iphigenia! You and your brother will fall again into our master's hands and perish.
Harness your horses, every man in my city! After them! Ride full speed to the shore and catch those foreign Greeks when their ship grounds! Hunt them down to divine Artemis, whom they have mocked! Launch all our fast boats, sea or land will capture them. Then, let us fling them down the rocky cliffs, impale their bodies on stakes! You women, you are in this plot. You I shall punish later.
King Tauris, what is this new hunt? How far will your rage take you? Hear my words. I am Athena. Call back those armed men you sent streaming in pursuit. It was the word of destiny from Apollo's mouth that sent Orestes, flying before the Furies' wrath here to this shore, to bring his sister home to Argos, convey the holy image to my Attic soil, and win release from the anguish that now haunts his life. That is my word to you. As for Poseidon, he does not, as you suppose, purpose Orestes' death to the engulfing waves, but has, at my request, already calmed their uproar, and bidden they provide a smooth passage for Orestes' homeward voyage. And you, Orestes, for an immortal's voice reaches your ears though far off, hear now my commands. Sail on with the holy image and your sister, and when you reach the god-built city of Athens, there is a holy place called by my people Helle, near the very edge of Attic soil, neighbor to the Christian rock. There you shall build a shrine, and set the image therein. You shall name it the Taurian temple, to recall this land and all the pains you suffered, driven from end to end of Hellas by tormenting furies. There men shall henceforth raise solemn hymns to Taurian Artemis. Give them this law. When my people hold festival, the priest shall, with his sword, touch a man's throat, and draw one drop of blood as ransom for your blood now spared, to accord due reverence and awe to Artemis. You, Iphigenia, shall hold her sacred keys and serve her shrine at the Braubronian steps. Tauris, these women here you must send home to Hellas. That is my command. Orestes, when you stood for trial in Athens and the votes were counted even, I gave judgment for mercy and you live. Let this be law forever. When equal votes are counted, you shall spare the accused and not condemn. So, son of Agamemnon, take your sister home. And Tauris, you must be content.
Divine Athena, to receive a god's command and disobey is madness. Therefore, I renounce all anger against Orestes for the image he has taken from me, and bear his sister no ill will. No honor comes of matching strength with mighty gods. Therefore, I shall send them safely with the image to your land, and there they shall set up a home for Artemis. Moreover, I shall send home to Hellas and to happiness these women, as your word commands. The armed forces, the ships of war I sent against the foreigners. Since you, goddess, desire it, I cancel and recall.
You are wise. The gods themselves bow to necessity, not only you. Blow winds, and bear Orestes on to Athens. I shall go with them, to keep watch over the holy statue of my sister Artemis.
Go, and good go with you, rich in fortune's favor, numbered with the living. Great Athena, honored by immortal gods, held in awe